What's going on, everybody? We're here again, and this time the group is bigger. You know, Uni here.
Alien.
Gully.
Dr. J.
Yes, and today's topic is
about domestic violence.
a very serious topic.
And we all know somebody got hit. We also know somebody that provoked someone else to hit them. And today we're going to dive into it a little bit and have some stats or whatever. People tell their stories about it. And we're going to see if we're not going to end anything right now because it's an individual problem, but we're going to shed light on it. So maybe if anyone, it can help. If it can help anyone, they can get the help they need.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's many different aspects of domestic violence. We got the physical aspect of it all, and then we also got the psychological aspect of it all. Unfortunately, stereotypically, when you hear about domestic violence, you hear about females going through it more frequent than anything, but at the same time, also men go through it as well. And we're going to touch the topic on both sides. And also, the purpose of today's conversation is to give you the signs that you should be looking for, so that you know you're not in a relationship where you're being abused and you're not aware. Because a lot of times there's a lot of telltale signs that if you spot them early, you could walk away from the situation and actually save yourself a whole lot of heartache and pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people wait till it's too late.
Yes, and if you wait till it's too late, unfortunately, it's a lot of times more than the two people that were involved get hurt in the process. Sometimes children that are in between, or maybe family members. So it is very important that you're able to tell the signs of it. You know, now the person that brought the topic up was my man Jay, Dr. J over here, because he had an experience with a friend of his that went through a terrible situation, and he's gonna shed light on some of that. And then we have Gully today here with the team, so she could give us her perspective on things, being that she has associates that might have experienced such a thing. And then as far as I don't know what familiarity he has with it. Me myself as a man, I've experienced some abuse coming from females, in the sense of a lot of times us men, we have a tendency of putting our loved ones before ourselves, and we just do that because it's in our nature. A lot of us loving men, regardless of who we are amongst our peers, we be savages, dogs, whatever we want to be amongst our peers. But then when we're with our loved ones, we put all that aside and we be as gentle as we can be for that person as a protector and a provider. But a lot of times we get stuck in a situation where that person just abuses it, you know, and not only that, plays psychological games to the point where it makes you feel like you're less than what you are, and actually that has a tendency of having I forgot the proper term or word to use, but it kind of holds you back. Mm-hmm. It doesn't allow you to move forward. Yeah, it stagnates you somewhat. Yeah. But Jay, please elaborate a little bit more on the reason why you brought this topic up.
I don't feel comfortable elaborating too much because of respect for the family and whatever.
Of course.
But I had a friend from childhood, and we reconnected on a platonic level, and it was apparent to me from our conversations that she was going through some type of stalker / abuse. I tried to help with the situation. She felt as though, no, they ain't gonna work out. Facebook be snitching on people. It tells you when people's birthdays are. So I'm, doing my job. Ain't nothing but a click, and I said, "Happy heavenly birthday." So all I can do is just go back to the last conversations that we had and do the math. I might be wrong, but I could be right. But it triggered me because of what she was going through, and the impression that she gave me is why we're doing this now. Why we're having this talk right now. Because nobody wants to have a loved one go through anything that can be avoided, and it's a bad job. That's a bad job.
Do you know how long she was with this person?
I didn't go in depth with that because I don't know that person, so I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care how long you with somebody. If somebody doing you wrong or making you feel as though you can't be free as a human being, then you need to be out of that situation. You know what I mean? That's not cool.
So like for my friend's story, you know, she knew this person since they were in elementary school. And when she was like 19, they actually started dating. And for 2 years that they were together, like, even though she was going through some family issues, her dad had left to Africa, and then she basically became like jumping from one house to another. So when she was with him, he kind of helped her, but then again, they were like doing things together. But then it got to a point that he was showing the roughness in the relationship of trying to take control of certain things, and him, the way that he was acting out made her feel like she had to do more work because he wasn't doing the work, you know. And then little by little, I remember her saying that she even had to sleep in the car because of his actions, her getting kicked out of apartments. And so just long story short, and it's not a happy ending, of course, because, you know, with the 2 years that she was with him, just this past August, and something terrible did happen, but for the past 2 years that she was with him, I was talking to her like every 6 months or 3 months. She would call me and just, you know, talk about certain things that was happening in the relationship. But we found out one August night that her boyfriend was actually found dead in her apartment.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's real. It's critical. Yeah, it's crazy.
He was found there with suicide or?
Well, the coroner, the investigators, right, the detectives, thought that it was a suicide because the gun was left behind. But the thing is that he was wrapped up in a blanket, like laying on the floor. So the girl, I'm not gonna say no names. The girl, she was living with her cousin in the house, and she was renting a room with the boyfriend, and they were going through domestic violence because even the other people that was living in the same apartment.
So the guy that ended up dead was abusing on his girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
So with everybody else hearing their domestic relationship and stuff like that, they kind of like
kept the distance.
They kept the distance, you know, and even the cousin was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it because that's her thing. But yeah. I'm telling you, when you hear something or see something, please say something because it can save a person's life.
Yeah.
So, you know, but within all this, you know, they did find the body. He was actually in a process of decomposing. They found the body 5 days later. We found out that she did leave and basically left the state. She went.
Wow. So
yeah, she went to state.
Right now, she's the number one suspect.
Yeah. So, so the detectives and stuff like that. Like right now, she is in jail. They did find out that she did do it because she did say that she did it.
Okay.
But within all that. She got to that breaking point, and the thing is too, what's just sad is that she was mentally drained because of the physical and domestic relationship.
And we touched the topic in the past about mental health. Yes.
Yeah.
So and that's why it's so important. Like I was having a conversation with staff not too long ago. The fact that it's so important. Like for example, I live by this number one rule, which is respect anybody who you encounter as if they have been through worse than what you're going through. So because you yourself know what your life is, and I know we all go through our challenges, we all go through our, you know, our ups and downs, and sometimes you may feel like whatever you've been through, nobody's experienced what you've been through, and it's ugly and it's horrible and it's all that. But because you've been through whatever you've been through to make your life easy, respect the fellow person as if they went through worse than what you went through, so like that you don't push another person to the limit. Because you don't know what the other person is going through, and because you don't know what the other person is going through, they might be going through worse than what you are. And at any given moment, any wrong use of words or action could trigger that person to go overboard and things get out of hand, and before you know it, you got two good peoples in a bad situation.
Yeah. And sad to say, when I went to the courthouse and heard her first preliminary hearing, I heard the detective say somewhat of her story. And before that night happened, they did have not an argument, but they were just talking in the car, and then all of a sudden he was the one that pulled the gun out on her while she was driving. So she was like in a panic, like scared moment.
Her life was about
because exactly. So so she said when she went into the house with him, because the thing is too, this dude was quiet around everybody. But she was always the talkative person. And people around the neighborhood always seeing her, we always say hi, but when it comes to him, he's just like in his own little world.
You wouldn't even guess.
Yeah, you would never guess. Yeah, so us thinking that he was always around her, that he loved her, and this and that, he's abusing her.
Yeah.
So when they went back into the apartment, they got into a bigger altercation. Again, he kind of like choked her up onto the wall, whatever, because he wanted to have intercourse, and she refused, of course, because she was just scared of her life. And this is what the detectives say. Now they're still going through the hearing, through the case. But the detective said that her side of the story was that she was scared, of course, and then she just thought like, okay, let me just have intercourse with him. So she did do that, and then since they didn't have no bed, they did sleep on the floor. He did, cover himself up. He had a pillow, whatever, but he slept with the gun under his pillow. So after they did all that, in the middle of the night, she got up and just shot him in the back of the head and left the gun there. So it looked like he killed himself.
He was wrapped in the blanket.
But he was wrapped up in the blanket. They were like, wait, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. So just knowing that and her story now, it's like, I myself see her as a warrior because she fought
right.
her life for that.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that
how much longer it was gonna go on for.
Right. The enemy in that relationship is no longer here, but the dude was only 21 years old.
And I know sometimes it's hard to leave that relationship because sometimes like your parents may go through it, so that's what you may think is right.
You think it's normal, exactly. You normalize it.
Normal. You think that person loves you, so they're doing it out of love. And I haven't really experienced anything from like friends or myself from things like that. Just things that I've heard from other people maybe. And to me it's a sad situation. I feel like it's not working between someone.
And she cooked.
For it to
She
end.
is. I told her something. I'm like, no matter what, even though you in here and we don't know how long you're gonna be in here, but just look at it as a next chapter in your life.
Yeah.
Do something that you're able to like start over and just unfortunately.
What's bugged out about that story is and I'm not drawing shade on your friend at all, but I unfortunately, because I've been single most of my life and I've been in the dating scene, I've met people. Like a good example, I've been in 2 abusive relationships. I'm not gonna mention the first one, but I'm gonna talk about my last one. So unfortunately, my last relationship, prior to me getting involved with her, one thing she did say a lot is how much she was in an abusive relationship in the past. So me as a man, being a provider and a protector, I felt sympathy and I felt like it was my duty to protect her, and I got involved with this young lady. As the relationship progressed, now mind you, I was a young lady for 4 years. As the relationship progressed, I started realizing that I was falling into the category of person for which she complained about in her past. Meaning, she was putting me in that position. For example, she first told me that her man used to check her on the way that she dressed. I'm like, why would he do that? I would never do no stuff like that. But then, her being the age that she was, 4 years short of 40, we're dating, and at the time I'm approaching 50, and I'm like, why would you dress like a 16-year-old, exposing too much skin? You're a lady, cover yourself. Sexuality comes with how you dress, not how much skin you expose. So I started telling her, like, just a little bit. I mean, come on, you're making me look like I'm a pedophile. I'm hanging out with somebody too young because you're dressing like a kid, you know. So then now I saw myself in the same position as that dude. I'm like, oh. Then she would tell me how her ex did not allow her to hang out with certain friends. I didn't have a problem with none of her friends. Nah, dad, hang out with your friends, whatever, no problem. But then she would tell me stories of how her friends are cheating on their man while they're hanging out together. And I'm like, yeah, nah, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea that you be hanging with your friends, especially when you're leaving the country with your friends. Especially after that story that you told me about what one of your friends did in another country when it was just you girls, and she's married with kids.
Yeah.
You know.
See,
So then,
go ahead.
no, and then not only that, some more things piled up, and then the abusive part was one time there was an issue that I was having with my kids, and my kids had done some stuff to rub me a very negative way, had me heated. She decided to touch a topic while I'm already heated on the topic. She decided to touch a topic that she knows is going to take me over the edge. She touched the topic, took me over the edge, and I'm like, you know what? Let's leave this alone. I walk away. Jumps in my face and pushes the topic even more. I was like, listen, you know, and then I'm walking away. Jumps in my face, and then start, no, but you get it. I'm like, listen, you're already pushing the edge to the point where, you know, let's leave this alone. So long story short, then every now and then start an argument and get in my face, and then put their hands on me to the point where I push them away, but then they fake like they fall on the ground. I'm gonna call the cops. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not doing nothing abusive to you. You just exaggerating stuff. So long story short is this. Men, if you're in a relationship with a woman that's constantly a victim, walk away from that relationship. Because what's gonna end up happening is over time, they're gonna constantly keep pushing you to the edge to where you do stuff outside of your character. So the young lady kept pushing me to the point I did well by never putting my hands on her. Until the last day came when she was actually pushing it to the ultimate, when she cheated on me, hoping that I would go even more violent.
See, one thing about that, one of my sisters went through a domestic violence for 10 years, and you know, we all seen it, the way that she talks and acts and everything, and you know, it got really bad at the very end because she does have, you know, my nephews and niece, you know, with this guy, but that thing never goes away. When you're in the first relationship and it's domestic, that's your whole entire life that you're going to carry. That whoever you find that is better than your previous person, you will treat them the same. Why? Because you already know how that energy comes, and you're so used to it that you're gonna treat everybody else the same way. So just by her, you know, us finally like separating her from him, she met this guy from New York, upstate, by the Hamptons. He would drive like 5 hours every other weekend to come see her. He helped raise her twins for 8 years, and it got to the point that like he was giving her everything, but then we kept seeing her treating him the same way. We're like, yo, relax. He's doing this, he's treating you so much better. He's giving you this, he's giving you that. Your daughter even says that you want him to marry her. You know, but it was just the way that she just kept going from that previous relationship. She carried it on to him, and it broke him so hard. Just like you're saying, it mentally drains the men. You know, I had to really tell him, you know, the one time that I seen him in my chair, he was so depressed and down. I said, bro, you gotta leave her.
That's your sister.
And that's my sister. Like, I seen this man grow gray hair because of the stress that she was giving him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and ever since then, my sister, she had no good luck with any other man.
Because she's too normalized from
with that previous. Yeah, and it's like with what the story that I hear about him, yeah, he's doing good, he's doing better, he has a child now because he didn't have no kids, but then again, he was giving his all to her kids. You know what I mean? And for that long, like, he helped her with paying her car and everything, and once he left her, she lost her car. You know? She went back into living with my parents. But, you know, just realizing that, man, like, if you see any signs, like, women, please we got the strength to just step back. Like if this gets to a point that you gotta take out your inner self and just like fear the person, get out and just fear him so that they won't ever touch you. But you cannot go back to that.
And then relationship, men and women, I recommend, listen, take some time out to heal.
There are better people out there.
Take some time out to heal.
Yes.
Take time to heal. Man or woman, like I said, men, if you've been in a relationship, and listen, if somebody doesn't care for how you feel, or they're gonna feed you just I am sorry's with tears, listen, I'm sorry with tears, don't cut it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they continue to do the same thing, dude, get away. Like I know a lot of us guys have a tendency of being loving and caring, and that's another thing. Like right now, I don't know what's going on in society right now. I do not know. I don't have an explanation for it. But long story short is this: it's just, dude, everybody protect yourself. Ladies, notice the signs. You know, if a man is too overpossessive, too needy, that's a sign. Mm-hmm. You know, men, if you start realizing that you're getting a lot of apologies and kiss up, yo, that's a sign. You know, so at the end of the day, it's like it's not a one-sided coin. You know, like men, they get because like this, for us men to be providers and protectors, we do whatever we can. But at the same time, all it takes is some woman to tell us that we're not good at that, or we're not good enough for that, or we're not valued at that. And then what ends up happening, a lot of men, they fall down to the point where they can't even pick themselves up anymore because they've been destroyed by a woman that they gave their heart to. And that's the sad part. Like men,
words are more powerful.
The Bible says it. The Bible says it right there.
Whatever comes out of your tongue is more powerful. It's
Proverbs
like a double-edged sword.
Proverbs 18:21.
So you need to be careful what you're saying, you know, and just protect yourself. Protect your heart. You know what I mean? If you're at a point that, even for the young ones, you know what I mean, the teenagers that's like, you know, starting to fall in love and stuff like that, man, I say to my 11-year-old daughter, and I'm glad I had this conversation with her, because of the experience that I had when I was 14, you know, me starting off and everything, it's difficult to deal with the heartbreak. And everybody in this world goes through heartbreaks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to domestic violence, because you don't want that person to ever leave because you're so in love with them, because you're afraid of the heartbreak. But I would just say, like, please just save yourselves till you know that you're fully mature enough to know what you love, you're going to pursue, and you take care of yourself so that whenever, you know, let's say the Lord gives you a person that's in front of you, they're going to take care of everything and they're going to protect your heart.
And to piggyback on what she said right there, I saw this not too long ago, which is very valuable, which is, this is how you young people, a lot of you young people just get in a relationship because they're cute and whatever. But and then on top of that, then you start having intercourse and stuff, and before you know, you're somebody's pregnant way too soon. So this is the number one thing you want to look for. Besides them being cute and attractive, this is what you want to look for. Ladies, make sure that the man that you're dating, that you plan to have intercourse with, is not so much attractive, but he looks like he has what it takes to be a good dad. Because if you decide to get pregnant by this man, he's going to have to be a dad. Same thing with you guys. Stop just piping any pretty little thing that's moving around. Because if she's not picking up traits of how to be a good mom, then she's not the one for you to bust a seed in. You know, so at the end of the day is, look at the qualities of the female. See if she has some proper upbringing, because unfortunately we have a lot of parents that should not even be parents, raising the people that you're dating and getting pregnant. So that being the case, if you see that that young lady doesn't have any type of role model or doesn't have any ability to potentially be a good mother, don't bust in that. What if Jimmy has some condoms? You guys are young. You could. I mean, that's not so much that you could use 10 condoms and still be alright. You know what I mean? You don't need no pills. So I mean, protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing though. That's the main thing. Is that it's just be careful who you choose to be with. You know, because at the end of the day, it's not even about having a child with the wrong person. It's about ending up in a coffin because you're with the wrong person. You know.
Yeah, or in jail.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or in jail. And that's the rest of your life, because that's never gonna go. Oh wait, that's in your record. You are that. You know, so just look at the signs. Stay away as fast as you can. Don't go all the way out to where she went to Florida.
Exactly.
She went to Florida, even though she turned herself in. okay? She did the right thing. She turned herself in. She met the detectives out in York. And she was even afraid of coming back into Reading by herself because the dude had a twin. You know what I mean? And it gets crazier because she gave the signs. She gave the signs of trying to put a PFA on him. She gave the signs of his family members to come pick him up because he's doing this and that to her. And they didn't listen.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I've actually seen relationships where I met a couple, right? 25 years. I met them at the beginning point, and I met them 25 years later. And 25 years later, they still have arguments in front of people, threatening each other with taking each other's life. I'm like,
oh damn.
I'm like, that's a crazy relationship. I'm like, I don't listen.
At that point, it's like, let me just pack my bag.
Yeah, let me stay away from them and whatnot. But long story short is like I said, man, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Even if you see couples the last 25 years and they doing that stuff, listen, don't copy on that. That's not healthy. The fact that they lasted that long, I'm actually surprised. But you know,
Probably sleep in separate rooms
and don't act like you're alone in it. You know, there's this.
People care. If you bring the topic up, people will care and people will help. And there's our hotlines for that.
There's safe perks and everything. You know, there's people that you would not even think that would help you will help you. I'm glad that I was there at least to help her mentally. Like right now, just talking to her, encouraging her, you know, because she needs that. You know, and every time I talk to her, you know, I'm always praying with her and just giving her that boost of like, at least you got a second chance.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? The man on the other side don't got no chances no more.
And the sad part about it, like, and I was gonna ask you if you ever had any more experience outside that, but the crazy thing about it is, like I said, I've heard of people having conversations with my ex, and the whole time they thought she's telling them that I was abusive when I never laid my hands on her. You know, so long story short, luckily for me, I was able to end that when I did, because at any given moment I could have been the dead guy, and then at the end of the day, my name would have been tarnished by people believing whatever the heck she had to say.
Well, that's true, and I mean, I don't know so much about your personal life either, but sometimes it can be just like words. The words that you say can be abusive. So sometimes you gotta know how to talk to somebody. Like, you know, I know somebody that loves to like talk about a topic. Let's say I bring out a topic and it's positive. It's like, you know, I can't think of something right now, but if my positive conversation starts, he brings in the negative. I'm like, what? Then you get confused. I'm like, wait, no.
We're not talking about that.
You know, yeah. So it's like, but if I say something negative, he sees it positive. I'm like, wait, whoa, what? Yeah. That can mess you up sometimes. It's like, wait a minute, like,
and that's toxic.
It can be a toxic person that feels that they gotta have power no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful, and even if you see that, you gotta stop it and be like, no, I'm not gonna listen to this.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna listen to this. I really think that you're wrong in this aspect, and I know that I'm right. And you know, and then that's it. You know, you are your own. You are control of yourself. You are controlling whatever you say or what you do.
And you gotta protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, outside of that experience right there with that friend of yours and stuff, I mean, have you ever had any personal experience with family members or closer encounter besides that? Because I know you got sisters and stuff and females in your family.
I wasn't privy to it.
You wasn't privy to it?
Yeah, because a lot of times people like to hide stuff, so if things happen, it was hidden.
Well, I mean, and then at the same time, then I want to say thank you for the crowd for tuning in, for the simple fact that usually, I know you guys was expecting some laughs, you know, and
all right, you ready for one?
Oh, you got sons to cheer everybody up? Go ahead, tell us.
Well, not everyone, but as fast as she went and got out of there after she killed that guy, she could have left that relationship.
Right,
well,
right. She could have.
It was very difficult though,
yeah,
because
like I said, some people
he was following her every single
when he
way.
went to sleep and she spanked them cheeks, they could have.
You know what she needed? She needed a Medea in her life. That's what she needed. She needed a Medea.
A transvestite?
No.
You ain't never seen Medea?
Boy, I will whoop your behind you. Like that type of
An aggressive old big woman
You gotta
to beat somebody's butt.
Put the grits on the stove. As soon as they heat up, you know what I mean? You want to beat them with a fan. You know what I mean? You need that type of
But
advice.
unfortunately, it
That's
didn't
how
last.
media
It didn't
gets in
end like
there.
that.
Make sure
Yeah.
things is alright.
But hopefully, you know.
Transvestite. You need a transvestite.
No, you need a Medea. Yes.
There's your laugh, guys.
Well,
There you go.
Well, on that note, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Uni signing off.
Alien.
Bye, Gully here.
Dr. J. Don't forget the book with Dr. J.
Peace.
Alien.
I don't even want to woke it up. I don't know what button I'm supposed to press. Yeah.
Alright.
What's the button, dude? Dude, hit the button. Hit the button. I don't know what button I'm supposed to press.
Press the button.
Oh man. We
Fix
still
it.
live though. We still live though.
Fix it. Look at him. Look,
So
don't
what
you like
about-
the suspect?
That's a suspect
Was
right
that
there.
Trayvon?
Trayvon Sharpton.
Alright, we
Trayvon
out.
Sharpton.
I don't know what they talking about.
You lost the button.